be able to get it off Facebook. So we're recording it, and then I'm also going to go to live on Facebook. So, how are you feeling this morning?
Fantastic.
Okay,
How are you?
let's just take a deep breath. I'm good. I just want to take a deep breath so we can ground ourselves, so we can get the most out of this experience. So, big inhale. Let's just have 30 seconds to get present. Okay. So we have about 2 minutes. I have to go over to do a live on Facebook. I'm going to plug in the information there. We're going to tell them that you're going to drop the link for your course uh, after we're done, and you'll put it in the comments. So we're just going to go through like your story, like your personal story, and why are you compelled to do the work that you're doing? And we're talking about conquering pessimism. So what can you share around that? And then we'll just briefly touch on life without limits, and that you're going to be assisting people through a 12-month journey, and we're going to keep that to like 2 minutes at the end. Sounds good?
Yep.
All right, let me go get set up. Oh, gotta log in again. It opens up my other browser. Oh, for God's sakes. I gotta log into Facebook now. Hang on. You look gorgeous, by the way. It's Guarin, yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're going live. You ready?
Yes.
All right. I think we're on. Let me just check my page. Here we are. Hi, Lolita.
Hello, Anna. How are you?
I'm great. So I want to welcome you to Circles of Inspiration. Welcome everyone who has joined us for this conversation today. We kind of put it together really fast, but it was a really important topic I wanted to talk about, and just recently had some interaction with a little bit of pessimism. So this actually comes at a great time for me, Lolita. So I just want to welcome you, Lolita Guarin. She is an international best-selling author. She is a stress management coach for adult children of addicts. And actually, your most recent book that you just published went bestseller, Stress Management for Adult Children of Alcoholics. This is her book. She was also part of a collaborative book series that we did here in the Wellness Universe. And I want to say welcome, Lolita. I'm so excited to have you. I apologize if I'm having any issues with my internet. Please hang in with me. Um, Tech gremlins are in my computer today. But I also want to say thank you to everyone who's joined us live here on Circles of Inspiration. If this is a conversation that makes sense for you to share out, please do. We would love to bring in more people to the conversation. I do want to let you know that we're doing this through Zoom, so I don't have access to the comments. So please just leave your comments. Let me know, first of all, where you're from, because I love to see how we reach a global audience. Leave it in the comments and then share this out wherever you like. We're going to come back to the comments later on, and Lolita's going to be answering any of the questions that you leave for her. So please make sure that you're leaving your comment directly on Circles of Inspiration, the main post, because as we share these out and people comment on the shared posts, we don't always get to see those comments. And I want to make sure that Lolita gets to your question. So Lolita, welcome to Circles of Inspiration. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me. That's just so honored to be in your circle.
Oh my gosh. Well, we've known each other for such a long time. You've been a member of the Wellness Universe. Everyone knows I'm the founder of the Wellness Universe. You came to Soul Treat. We met in person. We hugged in person.
Yay.
Your energy is amazing. It comes through on all of these videos and these reels that I see you post all over Instagram and all on social media. But in addition, I always have admired how much heart you put into what you do. I mean, you embody the change that you want to make in people's lives. I feel your heart in everything you do. So first of all, give me a little bit of background on you, just a little bit of a bio, your experience, and who you are, and who you serve. And then I would really love to hear, what your personal story, Lolita, whatever you want to share with us.
So first of all, I have great teachers to be great. Okay, you inspire me every single day. So that's where I'm learning that from, and I'm very honored for such a great words. As you can tell by my accent, I'm not from US. I'm from Lithuania, and I came here 23 years ago now. And obviously, I grew up in Soviet Union, and it's a very pessimistic environment. If we're really talking about pessimism, but I also want to migrate it to US. I knew that was the country of possibility. So I could be working very hard, achieving my dreams. I was working for the corporate environment. And again, it's not necessarily that's very stressful in the corporate environment. You can be working for yourself, and it's very stressful when you have to work 24/7, right? So when I was I saw my stress levels really rise, and then my hormones went out of whack, and I got physically ill. I actually had to go to the emergency room. Otherwise, I would not be like surviving really. And down because I was working overtime. I was taking all kinds of jobs, and I was afraid to say no. I was such a people pleaser, and I'm like, you know what? I need to take time for myself. And so I started learning how to do yoga, meditation, writing diary. That's actually not just writing, this is what I did with my boyfriend kind of diary, but like really putting your thoughts, your fears, and then I was doing all that, and it really helped me. And time management, telling people no, and it was better. And I thought, well, that's good, because I want to have a natural ways to do it. When you think about it, the grass is growing naturally, and it's still stressing when it needs to come out with that concrete, right? So it's not like stress is bad for you. You need some stress in order to move forward. But then I realized there was just something missing, like I was not really at the bottom of the things. And then I was reading about some business development book, and then this author mentioned that her father was an alcoholic, and she recommended a book. It blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what it is. I was reading all of that book, and I was like, I could totally recognize myself. And then I realized, that is the missing piece for the whole puzzle. And then I realized you can do as many meditations you want, you can do yoga, whatever you want. But if you grew up in a childhood trauma and in this functional environment where your needs were not met, you were not supported the way you need to be supported from your parents, from your caregivers, you will be looking through everything that happening in your life, stress included, through those different kind of glasses that everybody else sees. And then I start paying attention how I react, and I realize, whoa, could be something happens, like let's say at work or like in a group of people, and something happens. I would immediately like jump, it would trigger me so much. I will jump in this anxiety, I will be like overreactive. And that was coming from childhood trauma. And now I know probably some listeners saying, oh, I can quit right here because you know what? My dad was not alcoholic. This interview is not for me. Off I go. Hold on a second. I think everyone, we all have some sort of childhood trauma. It can be very little for some very big, depending what environment you grew up. I read that you can even, as a parent, can inflict a childhood trauma just like putting an infant from a little bit higher, and then you just can like bounce them in the bed, and they could be already scared, and that's already, that's a trauma already. So there's no way that the parents can never inflict any childhood trauma. That's impossible. Also, that's how it is to be a human being. So you can have a very little childhood trauma or a lot, but you have to heal that. So that's how I think the pessimism, I think it's very comes here because I realized I was super pessimistic. So anyway, just go back how I became a stress management coach and an expert by now, because when I realized there are natural ways how to do it, and then I realized that where you grew up, your environment, your childhood trauma, for a lot of people, is the really that the iceberg underneath the water that you don't really see. So you can do as many yogas as you want, but if you don't know how to manage your stress that has to do with those triggers that come from a childhood trauma and being low self-esteem, being pessimistic, being anxious, hyper vigilant, and all other things, gosh, like you showed I wrote the whole book about it, and that's not even, half of the flaws. As people say, oh, you come from this environment, you have all of those flaws. That's how I learned online. It was like a laundry list. I'm like, I don't like this. So when I wrote my book, I actually turned that flaw into a superpower, because I think we should use everything that we get in our lives that teaches us how to be ourselves and inspire to others to be better. So then I continue with my stress management, and now I realized that I, from what they say, when you come to life, you come with a few Lego blocks, and one of us have less and more. So how are you going to play with that? And it's very important to realize that, hey, you know what? There is another box. You can go and pick up any Lego pieces that you want. And coming to pessimism again, a lot of children who grew up in a dysfunctional family, and dysfunctional family can be parents who very driven, they have no addiction problems whatsoever. They can have very driven, and again, probably coming from their own childhood traumas, that they just work, and they don't have enough time to take care of their kids, give them a hug and show affection. That is extremely important. Or validate the child. I'm sure you see now everywhere on the playgrounds, the parents sitting on the phones, and the poor kid, 3 years old, says, daddy, I can do it. It's like, like, this is child is not getting what he needs, meaning recognition and validation from the parents. And when I realized that, one of the things, when I started my healing process to healing all those triggers, the first that came to my mind was this pessimism of like, it's not going to work for me. I did it so many times. I would look like at other people's pictures, and they will telling these stories, and I will think, how would they have those amazing relationships? How come I don't have that? This also, the victim mentality also came through. And how come everybody traveling everywhere, but I'm never travel anywhere? How just my life is so pessimistic? Well, it's just a simple conversation. Years passed by when I realized that I grew up in an environment that complaining and being pessimistic about everything, even about this beautiful day outside. My parents will turn this into, oh yeah, it's sunny outside. Wait, it's probably going to rain afternoon anyway. You cannot even enjoy life. So when somebody comes from this environment and they are so pessimistic and they don't think that anything is going to work, because there are so many programs, and I have clients who purchase my live programs, my do one-on-one consultation, and they they starting already from the point that they know they will not invest in themselves. So how can you heal, how you can move forward if you are not going to work on that? If you don't believe yourself that it will work for you, nothing will work for you. It's like a, you can buy a cooking cookbook and you can put it on the table. You still need to take action with everything else. But if you do not believe that you actually can cook that dinner, you'll never cook it.
Well, Lolita, that was a lot of information. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay, great, because I'm having an internet problem. But that was a lot of information, and thank you for taking us through your story. I think that you touched on something that's really important and something that we have also discussed here on these lives on Circles of Inspiration is about childhood trauma and getting people to understand, because when you hear the word trauma, it's such a big word. People think it has to be associated with something catastrophic. And it could be something as simple as being told you're stupid one time by someone you look up to break your heart about over yourself, to now carry that for the rest of your life. And that one little isolated moment can be a trauma that you're carrying for all of your life. I love the fact that you addressed that you have been on your own healing journey and that you have done the work. This isn't something you identified from the scope of being outside, outside looking in, but you were inside looking out. And finally, somebody held up a mirror to you by giving you that book. And you identified with all of these other underlying issues that just spoke to you, and experiences in life that spoke to you, that allowed you to put the two pieces together. And I think that the fact that you brought up into our awareness and the audience's awareness is that you could do all the self-help measures you want, and this could be done, completely, because you are 100% in. You're all in. You really want to feel better. You know that there's something better that exists, and you want to do the work. You're dedicated to it. But there's other stuff. Like if you have a cut and it has an infection, putting a band-aid over it is not going to be a good idea. You got to clean up the infection before you put the band-aid on so it can heal. And that's essentially what you're doing. You're cleaning up the infection, the trauma, and you're understanding how to work through this in order to implement those other tools, the yoga, any of the self-care tools, which you have a whole toolbox full of, I know. But you have to clean out that infection, so to speak. You got to understand your motivators as to your triggers. Like, you have to understand about yourself and give yourself the freedom and the grace and the compassion in order to, when you implement those tools, they will be effective. It's like driving a car and taking the tires off. You can't drive on the hubs of the car. You need the tires on it. So, essentially, what you're empowering people with is really the cleanup of what they need to do in order to heal. So everything that they do to heal, it will be effective and it will create the change that they want to see in their life. um, I want to talk more about that, and it's interesting, the examples you gave about how pessimism was kind of rampant in your family and the way it showed up. Um, today's talk was about conquering pessimism, and I know that your first program, your first episode of your 12-month program is on pessimism, and this is specifically why we wanted to bring this to light today, because you're going to obviously get into the 90 minutes and deeper conversation and work with the people that are on your class through that. But why was pessimism your number one out of 12 sessions to bring to the conversation? Why did you find that that was the foundational thing to speak about before any of the other items that you wanted to touch on, any of the other topics that affect the way you can manage your life?
I think pessimism is, I think it kind of heal it and move it aside. Because if we would start working on anything else, but deep inside of you, you still think that it's not gonna work. it never things work for me. And that comes from that low self-esteem place of that wounded child that never got validation. Well, because in the past, no matter what, if you would do something amazing, the caregivers were not giving them credit. They will never pay attention. And again, never word is a wrong word, like would not give enough attention. And so the child who grew up in that kind of family thinks no matter what they do is not good enough anyway. So when you don't have that belief and trust in yourself and your own abilities, and you're really coming from a place of, it's not going to work for me, nothing never works for me, and I'm sure you have people in your life that do that. You can give them an advice and they immediately give you the counter advice saying, that's not going to work for me, I already tried that. So if you're already coming for a whole year to work on your wounds, and you already come with this attitude of, well, nothing's going to work anyway, you will not going to pay attention to anything that we're going to talk about in that class. You will not be inclined to do any of the exercises, and I will be working really hands-on. And there's so many books and all kinds of videos made about how stress bad for you and how that accord is like, yeah, okay, we got this, okay, can we move on now? Like, give me the meat and potatoes now, what am I going to cook, like, let's do this. And in that online program, of course, I'll be talking a little bit more deeper into how that trauma occurred, but that's going to be a lot of work. We will be sitting down and taking time on writing specific tools that you, for yourself, can do. Whatever something happens and triggers in your environment in the future, you'll be like, I can do this tool. Also, there will be, there will be tools who will be doing in the discovery, and it's going to be hardcore work. So if somebody's going to be just sitting for half an hour and waiting until I finish talking, they're just wasting their own time, because it's not worth it for you to invest in something if you don't even believe it's going to help you. That's why I think that the number one first block that we need to take care of is to start cleaning that wound by saying, you know what, you can do this. This is possible for you. Just doesn't mean that somebody didn't give validation. You can give this validation to yourself. And then I think that would be a good starting point. So then the person can hear it and take it in, all that information, actually start working in healing when we're going to come and talk about the other things.
So, Lolita, another thing that came to my mind, and I'm so glad that you are really clarifying that it takes work. It's not like, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds. And even if you could lose 20 pounds by tomorrow, your body cannot handle that shift because of that's too much. It would be a shock to your system. You still have to like lose it gradually. And this is the same thing with anything that is completely deep rooted. It's part of your DNA. It's so much that you have to undo in order to really heal from it, because it's a process that you heal through. It's not something that you just, oh, I'll put a fresh coat of paint on this wall and it's a new color. This is not life, and it is a process of going through the understanding, going through the acceptance, going through all of the feelings, because there's a lot of things that are tied to it. Facing what really happened back then and understanding, all the motivations of why that happened, and why your parents, put you in a certain circumstance, or some sort of caregiver put you in some sort of circumstance that made you walk away with this wound. Um, so I want to say thank you for clarifying that this is not some quick fix, and you have to be dedicated. But what's waiting on the other side, Lolita? Like what? Because I've only known you with this cheerful personality. You are such a bright lighthouse. I've only known this side of you. I've known you for what, maybe 5 years now, and 6 years, maybe something like this, maybe even longer than that. But we've really got close, over the last years and when we met in person, right? And I've always seen such a bright light in you that what waits on the other side for someone if they really want to step up and address this, whether it's the pessimism or whether it's one of the other topics that you're going to be touching on in Life Without Limits. So what's waiting on the other side? Like what's possible? And again, this is funny because if we're speaking to people that are pessimistic, they might say, they might actually say, well, that can't happen for me. So let's be honest here and let's be open minded and let's create a space that anything is possible right now. So if we're speaking to people that have a problem with being pessimistic, let's put it aside. Let's just remove it from your life. Pretend you're somebody else listening to this conversation then. And what's waiting on the other side for them, Lolita?
So first, I want to tell to those all pessimistic people who, we come from this childhood trauma is you did nothing wrong. So many times that we look back and we think, oh, you know what? I'm too damaged. I'm too damaged. Too late for me. No, it's not too late for you. You can take care of it now. And that was not your fault that you had a parent or mother or caregiver emotionally, think I hope not physically, but a lot of kids do have some physical abuse. And it's not too late. You can do this. You did nothing wrong. You know what? This is a time for you to start doing things right for you. This is the love yourself, what everybody says. You just love yourself. And you see me a lot of all bubbly and all the stuff. I will hold myself back. Let's say if some listener right now thinks I just keep on working so hard, so hard. I'm trying to build my business. I'm trying to be somebody, and I don't know, it just doesn't happen to me. You probably sabotaging yourself at the last step. Like that's what I would do. I would be like, I'm doing so great, and at the end of it, I would just can't deliver. Or you just don't really believe in yourself, and then you're pushing, and you feel so hard, and then they say it's supposed to be easy. It's like, how is it supposed to be easy? Because you're dragging all this heavy weight behind you. So that's the time to heal. So what is on the other side? That's going to be scary. And I always tell my clients, it's going to be scary. There will be some exercises that will really trigger you. But when you shine the light on that dirt, this is the good time to clean up. Imagine you will be coming into a room that's been dark for a very long time. And we were going to open the doors and windows, and we're going to clean that stuff out. It's going to be painful. It's going to be uncomfortable, but it's going to be so worth it, because after that, you will be proud of yourself. And I recommend usually when I start the programs, actually not usually, but every time, you need to give yourself a reward. What is that you're going to give yourself when you finish this complete? Because you need to honor yourself and be grateful to yourself that you actually went through the journey. So it's going to be painful, but it's going to be so worth it.
I love that, Lolita, and thank you. And I love that example about the room, the dark room. We're about coming to a close. I like to keep these to about 20 minutes to a half an hour. I want to know, it's a really good question for you, Lolita. I want to know one thing that you've said out loud now that you've healed through what you've healed through that you thought that you would have never said. You never would have believed that that could be something that you said and that you believed in. And it could be from you. And also, if you've affected someone's life, one of your clients, something that they've said to you that they never thought that they would say. Where have they arrived at? Like if I say, I never would have thought that I'm a multimillionaire. I would have never, like 10 years ago, I would have never thought that that could be possible. What has come out of your mouth, and or what has a client said to you? That's my question. It's a two-part question.
So I had a client say who especially come with a physical pain, and I heard multiple times they say, I never thought that I'll be doing stress management exercises and the pain in my neck will be gone, when my doctor said that I should probably have a surgery. As we all know, the emotions really attach to our physical experience and our physical bodies. You manifest into your body whatever you think and you have energy for. So that totally makes sense when you think about it. When you take care of your wounds, your body takes care of itself. And for me, I never had the idea that I'll be reaching out to many people. And when somebody says, "Wow, you just made, you just influenced my life. Thank you so much," and I'm thinking, me? You kidding me? Like, oh my God, that makes my day. That makes my month. When somebody says that actually I inspired them to find that peace in themselves that can help themselves, because really I'm not really helping anyone, they themselves helping themselves.
I love that, Lolita. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm looking forward to joining you tomorrow night and joining on each of the live sessions. They're every second Monday of the month, is it? Every second Monday of the month?
Yes.
Starting tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
And
7
6
p.m. Eastern.
Central, that's where I am.
Okay. And it's free to register on this, and you're doing this by donation. So basically, no one has an excuse. The only excuse is themselves holding themselves back. So Life Without Limits, Freedom and Success by Healing Childhood Trauma. And all are welcome. You don't have to be the child of an adult child of an addict. I believe, and I believe that too. I love that you're so niche and you can absolutely sit in a room, and those who have gone through that experience, they completely can trust in you for that very specific. But I believe, like what you said, we all have experienced some sort of childhood trauma and that will benefit. I, for one, I'm going to admit this publicly, and I may have said this before. My relationship with my father was very tumultuous growing up. I experienced childhood trauma on several levels. I was bullied as a child in my neighborhood. I was not encouraged, not empowered. I was not nurtured. And I've said this before in different arenas, but it's not, I don't get up on a soapbox and talk about this often, and don't keep bringing this conversation up because I've gotten so far past it, but I still do see a lot of um, manifestations of triggers because, and I'm now that I'm getting older and I'm understanding and I'm in this world of wellness, I'm understanding where it all coming from, so it's a lot easier to self-regulate. But at the same time, I want to clean out the old infection that's still festering. So I'm looking forward to joining you tomorrow night. So I invite everyone to join us. We're going to drop the link in the comments in the Facebook on Circles of Inspiration Facebook page. In the comments of this video, there will be the link to come and join us. And please, I really implore you, if you heard this conversation today, again, Lolita is doing this for free, and you can support her class by donation because this is such an important mechanism to help you heal and those you love heal. Maybe we're here as an advocate for our husband or our wife or our best friend, and we're listening to this conversation today because we really need to bring this to them, and because they're not even ready to hear it from us right here, but from a best friend and a trusted resource, they're hearing this secondhand, and they will listen to someone that they love. So we're hoping that if you're listening to us right now, that you're going to be sharing this message. It's very important. I can, for one, say wholeheartedly, Lolita is a trusted resource, and she will hold your hand and have your back. And it will be like coming away. Yes, like sometimes you got a couple of slaps in the face, but in the end, a big warm hug, because that's what healing takes. Just like going to physical therapy after a break, it hurts to go through the process, but then you come away stronger and healthy and healed. So Lolita, do you have any final words or final thought that you want to leave the audience with?
I think we just need to let's do this. Just stop thinking about it and let's just do it. So I hope those who are listening, I'll see them on the other side.
Me too, Lolita. Thank you so much for being my guest today. Thank you so much for bringing Life Without Limits to the Wellness for All program through the Wellness Universe and through the Wellness Universe Lounge, our learning platform. I can say with all my heart that I love you. I have so much respect for you and admiration for you. I see that you've done the work and you're walking the talk. And again, like all the guests I bring on this program, on this live and Facebook for Circles of Inspiration, I truly trust you and trust you. You are the person to go to for this healing and for people to have their lives transformed. And what a blessing you are to all of us. Thank you, Lolita.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you for inviting me.
I love you so much. Thank you so much. So everyone, please share this and comment, and please tag Lolita or myself. We'll be sure to be checking the comments over the next couple of days. Lolita will also put in how to connect with her as well on the comments, and the link to Life Without Limits, Freedom and Success by Healing Childhood Trauma. And thank you once again, Lolita. And everyone, have a really great day.